What's up, everybody? It's SC Romero of the Fantasy Football Universe here to bring you another conference preview. Now, we've talked about the SEC, we've talked about the Big 12, we've even talked about the ACC, with saving the best for last to me. And that's because, as you know, my Oregon Ducks are now in it. The Big 10. That's right. We're going to talk my top 10 offensive players, top 5 defensive players, as well as some honorable mentions in the Big 10 conference preview right after this. What's up, Fantasy Football Universe? Before we get this video started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it all. We love the community, and we want to continue to bring best forth content moving forward. Daily content every single day. Fantasy football, Devy, NFL, you name it, we're probably doing it. Like, comment, subscribe on the Fantasy Football Universe YouTube channel. But as I mentioned, we're getting into the Big 10 conference, and man, this is an exciting one because Oregon's in it. That's huge, and it hurt me to not put an Oregon player at the top, but I mean, right now, Devy community, including myself, is going crazy over this guy and what he can be as a future star, and that's gonna be Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. Yes, wide receiver sorry LSU fans, but wide receiver Ohio State got another one in Jeremiah Smith. You talk about speed. Check. You talk about physicality, check. You talk about great hands, check. You talk about a contested catch specialist, check. You talk about spectacular catch specialist, check. You talk about agility, check. You talk about anything, check. I mean, even when I'm doing a write up on him, it's hard to not find the weakness. Of course, he does have some polishing he could do right as a freshman, but the sky is not the limit for this guy. I mean, I just saw the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and that talks about a multiverse. I mean, the other universes, if you will, is the limit for this guy. This guy has so much potential that he could be one of the next best things to hit the NFL in future years, and that's because he's getting the best development. Brian Hartline is a phenomenal coach when it comes to these wide receivers, and we see it time after time. These guys are drafted in the first round, and Jeremiah Smith is going to be another factor of that. So I'm excited to see him grow, what he's going to do. Big expectations coming in. But as a freshman, it's the future what I expect. I think he's going to be great in the future, and it's because he checks every single box you want in a wide receiver, and he hasn't even touched the collegiate field yet. So when I watch Ohio State games, he's a prime reason why. But it's also because of this transfer they just get in, who's my number two for the Big Ten, is Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins, now coming from the SEC, coming from Ole Miss, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. This guy has the speed. This guy has the elucidity evade. He knows how to get small. He also knows how to bully past the defenders and get over them and truck them and Heisman on them if you want. So there's a lot of upside with Quinshon Judkins. The key here is the interesting thing is, at Ole Miss, he was the guy. There wasn't really anyone there was players on the team, but there wasn't really anyone challenging him for carries. Now he has TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson has had some injury concerns in the past. He gets beat up and bruised a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Quinshon and TreVeyon does, or what Ohio State does, in the firm having two backs that are elite. For some time, people thought TreVeyon Henderson was a top back in this past class, but he decided to stay again. So for him, it was like a lot of work, was the issue of him just staying on the field. So maybe not less is more. So Henderson can shine again. But how is this going to affect Quinshon Judkins? Because we've seen him be the bell cow back at Ole Miss. And now what's going to happen? Is he still going to be that bell cow? Or is he going to get some breathers here and there? So I'm excited to see what this is. Going to the Ohio State is definitely going to get more national coverage just because of the school frame and what it's done in the NFL than Ole Miss will do. So it's going to be exciting to see him and how they break up these two great running backs to share the backfield. That's always tough, but you do have some teams do it, and we're actually going to talk about two here a little bit later. But Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins, phenomenal athlete, and I'm excited to see what he does this year in the Big Ten. Speaking about transfers, we're going to go to my first Oregon player. That is transfer wide receiver now at Oregon, Evan Stewart. Now he's been high on some radars for some time, and he hasn't truly broken out at A&M. Dan Lanning, or should I say, Will Stein in the offense, understand how to utilize their playmakers. And Evan Stewart's another addition to a playmaker that they're going to be excited to utilize. He's someone that has the versatility to line up where you need him, but he also has the speed to make plays happen. His route running is superb. He knows how to make his cuts effectively. He knows how to adjust his hips to make the catch. He is just an all-around great wide receiver, and this is going to be huge for Dylan Gabriel because I think this is going to be a go-to guy for him. So it's going to be something that's big when they start connecting and building up more chemistry. They have been doing it all spring, even heading into fall camp. So it's exciting to see what's going to come from Evan Stewart now in the Big Ten, and now with a team that's actually going to utilize him for his playmaking skills. So that's going to be fun to watch. But speaking of wide receivers that I'm excited to see more because I think they can finally utilize him. The wide receiver room was crowded for this one last year, and that's wide receiver out of USC Zachariah Branch. You know, you had some good wide receivers there last season that now are in the NFL. And now you have Zachariah Branch and Deuce Robinson looking to take the charge as the two lead wide receivers. Zachariah Branch recently posted a picture on X showing what he's done, man. This kid has put in the work to physique his body, you know what I mean? To just have like a 9 pack or 10 pack, you know, just something crazy. He looks great. He looks like he's ready, best shape of his life. He looks like he's about to step on the field and dominate. And this guy, out of these wide receivers, he's probably the fastest of the group that I've talked about so far, and he has the heads as well. So this is going to be something that's great for Miller Moss or maybe even Jaden Maivia at USC to have a lot reliable wide receiver down the field that's not only an effective route runner, but also a great field stretcher to gain those big plays and potentially get a touchdown as well. So I'm excited to see Zachariah Branch. He's had great hands. I think he was just overshadowed last year, crowded room. You know, Caleb Williams was doing what he could and, you know, really fed as many people as he could. But I think this year, now that some of the wide receivers are gone, this is Zachariah Branch's opportunity to really step in and be the wide receiver one for the USC this season. Going back to wide receiver, you don't know, not LSU. I'm talking Ohio State. Wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. Emeka, technician, you know, one of those technician kind of route runners. You know, I think he does really great. He might be the leading target for Ohio State this year, but as a Devy prospect, you know, I like Jeremiah Smith a lot more. But Emeka Egbuka, without a doubt, is going to be a first round pick. You know, I think he's going to be this year. You know, he could have been a first round pick this year, and I would have had him at wide receiver 3. You know, I would have put him behind Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. You know, I think he would have been my wide receiver 3 coming out this year. All around great athlete. You know, he has been banged up, so the health is a concern. But I think when he's on the field, he makes an impact and he makes the other players around him better. He's going to be a leader for this young wide receiver room. They have a very young locker room when it comes to the wide receivers at Ohio State. Emeka Egbuka is one of those veterans, and I think he's going to be a valuable leader for this young team to help them elevate even more and understand what they need to do. The little fundamental techniques that you need to do at this next level that you weren't, you know, that you didn't do as much at the high school level. So I think this is going to be great for Egbuka to get with these guys and to just lead them to success. He's going to be a phenomenal wide receiver for them yet again, and then a first round pick when we talk about the rookies next year. Another wide receiver that could potentially be a first round, probably day 2 though. Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson. Now, I know I said Evan Stewart could be the primary target. I mean, I think Tez just as equally could be the primary target for Oregon, for Dylan Gabriel. He's been there, right? So he understands the system that Lanning wants to run, that Stein wants to run. He understands what he needs to do. He is very, very comfortable with his stepbrother, Bo Nix, as the quarterback last year. So he'll need to adjust a little bit with Dylan Gabriel in the backfield. But yeah, I think he's good because he is very quick in the short spurts. I mean, he's quick, you know, speed all around, but those short spurts, those quick slants, all those kind of things. This is a guy that's just that hits the name of like target monster, right? I think he's just gonna get a lot of valuable targets and he's gonna show off his hands a little bit more this season. With no more Troy Franklin, I know Evan Stewart's there, but there's a chance we'd actually see Tez Johnson elevate himself to the wide receiver 1 of the team and Evan Stewart ends up saying another year to play with Dante Moore next year, and that's going to be even bigger for him to say, hey, no, I want to make sure I have that double breakout season. But I'm excited for Ches. I think he's going to do great things for Oregon. I think this wide receiver duo of him and Evan Stewart, excuse me, is going to be superb, and I think that's going to be a huge, huge reason why Dylan Gabriel just says he's passing the ball because these guys can get open quickly. They know both have reliable hands and good hip movements and understand of where they need to be, and they can communicate with the quarterback. They have good chemistries with their quarterback, so that's going to be very exciting. Now, earlier I said, there's a running back duo that I was going to talk about. That's going to be Penn State's running back, starting with Nicholas Singleton, and then we'll talk about Kaytron Allen. But Nick Singleton, man, for a lot, he was RB1, right, going in. And then they had Kaytron Allen, though. And now Kaytron showed it off. And the benefit with both these guys is they've seen the field almost equally amount of time. Like there's not like the if one's heavy, it's just slightly right. So they've seen the field just about the same amount of time, and they both been productive. They both been valuable assets to the Nittany Lions in getting the ball down the field and fighting for those extra yards. They both have different skill sets, but they both been effective, and they're not destroying each other's opportunities, you know. So Nick Singleton, more of a power runner, has some speed, similar to a Nick Chubb, right? If you think about Nick Chubb, just he's that next pro style running back that's just your natural run between the tackles, get the yards, fight for them, but also has that speed to break away, which I love. He can catch the ball as well. I think he can do a little bit better in pass catching, but I really do enjoy what he does when he's on the field because I think I'm one of those guys that likes those bruisers, right? The guys that just run up the middle and just get those 10, 15, 20 yards. And Singleton does that. So I really am excited to see what he does again because now, Kaytron, the first year, 2 years ago, Singleton was the guy. This past year, looked like Kaytron was the guy. So there it's, 1-1 going into it. Kaytron Allen, Penn State running back. This kid, more of a vertical runner. I think Singleton runs a little bit more shoulders down. Kaytron Allen runs more vertical, just straight lined at you. But he also has the speed and he has the strength, man. This kid just stiff arm. Sorry, Charlie. Charlie, you're not getting after me today. So I really love this as well. And also, as I said, has the speed. I think he's more he could run off the middle, but I think because his vertical running, he more runs to the outside kind of, and then he goes after it. But he has that strength to bully your defenders as well. He has good hands as well to catch the ball if need be. But both of them are just solid runners out the backfield that's going to be where they make the money, not necessarily in the pass catching opportunities, even though they can make the plays when called upon to, in the pass catching realm. But I think they're going to be more so on the realm of just running up the middle in between them. They did get a freshman in here in Quinton Martin, so that's going to be big to see what he does as well, because he's a good pass catcher. So they do have three of every kind of back, really. So it's going to be exciting to see what the Nittany Lions do. And I know people are heavy on Drew Allard. The offense runs through the running game, though. And if these guys are down, Kaytron, Singleton, even Martin, then Allard is going to get, stuck. But if they're running, Allard has open opportunities to start running some play actions and getting the balls down the field. But Kaytron Allen and Singleton are the lifeblood of this offensive unit in Penn State. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do in this trilogy of theirs, this round three of theirs, to see who takes the reins as being the lead back. Possibly no, we could see an equal cut or equal share of them as well. Another freshman, that's on the map though. Gay a lot of praise. That's gonna be Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola. Uh, I don't want to say Mahomes, man, but this kid, he kind of has the mechanics as the greatest of all time, right? Is Mahomes? That's another story for another time. But Dylan Raiola, man, this kid, he could throw from any angle. He has a solid release. He has a quick release. He has the awareness when the pocket's collapsing. He has the confidence when the pocket's collapsing. He can move out and extend the play if need be. He can get some yards with his feet, but he's more that pocket passer. But he throws with precision, man. He has that soft touch to float the ball if he needs to. He has the bullet, in his throws to get the ball quickly to his guys if he needs to. Best part, man, he could throw in those tight windows too. When you have two defenders right here, he's throwing right in the middle, just this circle area right here, getting it straight to them. So that's exciting to see. I think Raiola is going to be great. And he has a solid wide receiver group in Nebraska as well, as well as Dante Dowdle in the backfield. So this is going to be an exciting year, freshman year, right? I'm not necessarily expecting anything heavy because it's freshman. Like I expect turnovers to happen, right, going into that next level, the collegiate level. But yeah, at the same time, I do think he has an understanding for the game that a lot of freshmen don't necessarily have it quite yet. So I think he's kind of ahead of the curve there when it comes to it. This is going to be something great, man. I think he's going to be a quarterback we're talking about of the QB1 of the class in years to come. So to see what he does as a freshman and just elevate is what I'm excited for. But this season alone should be a good season for him, and I'm excited to see when he takes the field because I think he has the mechanics to be one of the top quarterbacks, not just in college, but also in the pros one day. And my last guy, running back from Minnesota, Darius Taylor. So Darius, Darius Taylor, we might have been talking about him as the Ollie Gordon last season. Within the first 4 games, he was averaging 133 yards per game. Then he got hurt. And then he came back for the bowl game and he had 200 over 200 yards in that game. This kid has the speed. This kid has the ability to evade tackles, whether it be juking his guys, whether it be spinning, whether it be using his strength to just bulk through them. This kid out of Minnesota. Minnesota produces some good running backs as well. So Darius Taylor, man, I think he is self-made in the sense that he put in the work, man. And I think he understood what was in front of him last season, getting hurt. Did it bring him down? It actually motivated him quicker because he said, "No, I gotta get back on the field." And he had a good fall camp. We're gonna see him, go into the season. So I'm excited to see what Darius Taylor brings to the table because we got a glimpse of it. We saw the explosion. We saw it and then they cut it from us. So now this is going to be an opportunity for him to go back out there. He opens up against North Carolina, which is going to be a huge game because he actually did really well against North Carolina last season. So this is going to be big for him. I'm excited to see what he does. He's going to be something that is a reason why Minnesota finds success. If he's getting the ball moving behind the Minnesota offensive line, which I expect him to do, watch out for Minnesota, man. They could be a sleeper team just because Darius Taylor runs wild on everybody. Talk about some honorable mentions, though. I talked about, Ohio State running back Travion Henderson, maybe less is more. UCLA running back TJ Harden. UCLA is building a different culture out there. And I didn't have any UCLA people on my top 10 here, but watch out for UCLA. Man, they have a new coaching staff there. They have a new culture, a new atmosphere. They're going to be something great. And TJ Harden, man, I think will be a big part of that as well. I think he's a great running back that, will do great things for him. Again, talk about the class being so deep next year. Harden is one of those. Dante Moore, Oregon, Dylan Gabriel is sold as well. But Moore, man, I don't expect him to take the reins this year. He was at UCLA. Speaking of, they transferred to Oregon this year, so this is going to be big. Sitting behind Gabriel, understanding from a vet like Gabriel that's been in the league, for this is his 5th year now. So this is going to be huge for him to see some big things happen for him. So I'm excited to see what Dante Moore will do for the Ducks, not this year, but the following season as well. But I think he deserves that recognition. But that was all for my offensive guys. We're gonna talk about some of the defensive guys, starting with Iowa linebacker Jay Higgins. I almost said Ohio State. Iowa linebacker Jay Higgins. Iowa, if you're in your rookie drafts, IDP drafts, just drafts in general, two things you need to know. Iowa produces tight ends, they produce linebackers. Jay Higgins is the next linebacker from there. I should have said Luke Lachey earlier when I was talking offensive honorable mentions as a tight end. But Jay Higgins, man, he is going to potentially lead the nation in tackles. I'm going to say it. He's going to potentially lead the nation in tackles this season. Just all around great linebacker, leader of the defense, controls the defense, attacks with aggression, knows how to close in on the gaps to make the gaps smaller for the running backs, but can get behind the line and bring the pressure as well. Great ball pursuit. Just the next one up from Iowa, man. Iowa produces linebackers, and Higgins is going to be the next guy. If he came out this year, he would have been my linebacker one, I believe, and that um, says a lot. He has another year for him, and I'm excited to see how he controls this defense and continues to lead it even further. than what we've seen in the past. So that's exciting for Jay Higgins. Wisconsin safety Hunter Wohler. Now, watch my Devy dashes. We're posting them on X. You can see them on TikTok and Instagram as well. But Wisconsin safety Hunter Wohler, man, this kid is a hard hitting safety that is the heartbeat of the defense for Wisconsin. He is going to do something great, and we're going to talk about one of his teammates a little later because I think adding his teammates only going to elevate him a lot more on the stat book and also just for his career. Hunter Wohler knows how to track the ball well to get in the defenders or in the offensive player's face, and get the pass deflection or the interception or just get the tackle. Man, this guy sideline to sideline speed, knows how to close in very well on the ball. He's going to be one of the best safeties in the nation this year. Go ahead and book that. I'm excited to see what he can do. Wisconsin has a pretty solid defense, and Hunter Wohler is a part of that. So this is going to be a big year for him. But speaking about defensive backs, I can't go on without talking about Oregon defensive back Jabbar. Why? Because he transferred over from Washington, and he is the reason why Washington won their games against Oregon because he single-handedly would cut out Trey Franklin. Man, he could be a lockdown corner, but also a physical corner. He knows how to be aggressive against these bigger wide receivers, but he has the speed to go up against the lighter wide receivers as well. So he's more that versatility. You can line him in the nickel, you can line him outside, he can play safety if you want him to. He can do it all. So I'm excited to see how Oregon utilizes this. Their secondary, I think, will be slept on. They added a lot in their secondary, and that's going to be big because there's a lot of things that come from this Oregon secondary that we're unaware of right now, and just the packages that they're going to be forming with their secondary and their front seven and on their. It's just Oregon knows how to use these guys, and I'm excited to see what kind of different packages they come up for Jabbar Muhammad to lock down some of the nation's top wide receivers, and they're going to play them this year. Ohio State has them. They're going to play them. How is Jabbar Muhammad going to react and play against them? That's what I'll be watching out for this year. But speaking of Ohio State, we got to talk about national champions, right? National championship last year, Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. Talk about the guy in the middle, man. Talk about the guy that single-handedly can control the middle of the pack in the trenches, if you will. This kid, will be in the quarterback's face in a blink. Don't let the quarterbacks blink because he's there. But he also knows how to control the line to have defenders call to him, and he opens up the outside for his teammates as well. This, can close in on the gaps. He's the reason why any running back is not running up the middle for Michigan because of this guy right here. He has the speed to do it himself and to get after the running back or get after the quarterback, but he also has the strength to move the blockers where he needs them to be to close in on those gaps and affect the running lanes for the opposite of, running backs as well. So I'm excited to see what Graham's going to continue to do. An anchor for the Michigan defense is Mason Graham. So what he's going to do this season for them will be big time for them. A big reason if they're able to get into the playoffs or not this year. And speaking of, I talked about Hunter Wohler earlier, but we're going to talk about transfer linebacker that's not at Wisconsin. That's Jaheim Thomas coming over from Arkansas. This is going to be big for Hunter Wohler because Thomas is a leader. Thomas is someone that is a green dot type of linebacker. He is someone that plays with aggression as well, gets after it, tackles correctly, pursues well, gets after the ball, really can have that sideline to sideline speed as well, but also just an understanding of the game. He knows how to read the quarterbacks well and adjust the defensive play when he needs to. And because of his IQ and determination to be great in the game, that's going to make Hunter Wohler's job easier as a safety because he's not going to cover as much ground because Jaheim Thomas is there too as a linebacker to cover the front. And now Hunter Wohler can really focus on the backfield there. So I'm excited to see what these two do, just being leaders of this defense. I think Thomas is going to fit right into this Wisconsin defense. And I think he's going to be a reason why Wisconsin can maybe do a few upsets this season. Some big games they may upset because they have playmakers on defense like Jaheim Thomas and even Hunter Wohler. But as far as honorable mentions for the defensive side of the ball, we got to talk about Rutgers, Aaron Lewis returning again. Just a great edge rusher that can get outside and force that pressure on the quarterback. Oregon has a nice freshman safety in Aaron Flowers. They have other, as I mentioned, defensive backs there as well. But Aaron Flowers, man, I think he's going to see the field a lot more than what some had thought at the beginning when he first committed. I think he made an impact in the spring game, and we're going to see it come this season as well. Michigan defensive back Will Johnson, another guy that's great. We talk about some anchors. Will Johnson is going to be a reason why Michigan's defense is able to hold some of these air raid offenses because of what he can do as well. Ohio State, Denzel Burke, another guy, just a guy that is going to be challenged or asked to hold some of these top offensive players in the Big Ten, and he's going to be a reason why Ohio State can, hold their own when it comes to these big games. And then Penn State edge rusher Danny Dennis Sutton, a reason why Penn State is going to be hard to run against. They always are. And it's going to be a reason why they are again, because Dennis Sutton is there and he knows how to close those lanes and get after the quarterback too. But that's all we have for the Big Ten. I appreciate y'all joining in. Again, my name is SC Romero. Follow me on X at the PPR. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Universe YouTube channel, and follow the Fantasy Football Universe on X at the FF Universe. Until next time, I appreciate y'all joining in on the Big Ten Conference preview. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.